in the West. In Europe, Asia, and Australia, today is already tomorrow. I am Highlander. He is Varyar.
Heyo!
And you're listening and watching to the RivalCast from RivalCastMedia.com, powered by Twitch TV and watched and listened to by folks like you. And hey, my phone just let me know that RivalCast Media just went live.
Might
want to tune into that. I hear it's going to be pretty good. I hear good things. How have you been, sir? It's been a week.
I'm good. I'm dead, man.
Dead?
I'm fried. Thursday night, I had a lot of trouble sleeping.
Okay.
Couldn't sleep. I got maybe like 2 hours in like 15 and 20 minute bites, just kept waking up.
Oh, wow.
I had to be at work first thing in the morning, so at 4:35, I gave it up as a bad job. Was like, fuck it, if I fall asleep now, I won't wake up.
Right.
So I just stayed up. And so I was dead yesterday. Got home, I was asleep early. Like by 8 o'clock, I was out. Woke up this morning at 10, got ready, went to work. So I slept for 12 hours. Or, no,
Okay.
14 hours.
I've done that before.
Yeah. Well, I'd been about almost 40 hours without sleep, so,
Okay. I
I'm
didn't
okay
go that
with
long. The last time I did that was on with the convention when I got stranded, and I just had to kind of stay up and at the airport, and I couldn't really fall asleep. Although there were people who were sleeping, so I was like, well, more power to you. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I was not one of those people. Like I couldn't fall asleep.
I can
And then
stay
by
up
the
for a
time it
long
was
time.
time for me that I could fall asleep because I was tired, I couldn't because I had to start moving around and getting my way to the bus and then working my way all that way and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was rough. But
I can
not as
stay
rough as
awake
you.
for a
Not as
long
rough as you.
time. I can stay awake for a long time, but when I'm done, I just crash.
Sure.
So this morning I woke up feeling good. 14 hours of sleep. I felt great. Went to work, and, dude, we were slammed all day. It was awesome. I mean, just
Okay.
busy as shit. First Saturday over 60 degrees, so everybody was out. It was fantastic. Nice,
It
Malorian.
actually was only about in the upper 70s today over here, so it was pretty calm. Actually, I mean, there was a lot of wind and everything, so it's kind of cool. So it's kind of nice. Kind of nice. But it's been pretty warm down here for months already, so
Yeah.
nothing new on that front. Right?
Well, yeah,
Right.
Why did my phone just buzz again? All right.
I don't know. I hear RivalCast Media just went live. Should probably go to them.
I
Right
already got that one. I already
You
got
got
that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
There's been a couple times. There's been some times when I stream and I either get it like a half hour after I'm starting, or I never get it, and then I'm all paranoid. Like, am I streaming?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't. Because I usually when I stream, like if I'm doing a game or even like with this, I keep my phone like right here just in case I want to check the time real quick. I can just kind of tap the top and oh, okay, so we got plenty of time.
Right.
That kind of thing. But sometimes it doesn't buzz, and I'm like, what's going on? Twitch, you have one job to do, and you're not even doing it. So I don't know. And then other times, like I said, it doesn't do it at all. And other times, it's late. So
Yeah, I've had
but
that
sometimes
happen.
it works fine. So yeah,
That's why I always
There.
keep it up on the second monitor so I can see what's going on.
there you go. I need to get a second monitor. That's what I really need to do.
So nice. So
Yeah.
helpful. It's just
Yeah.
fantastic.
I use my old laptop. I'm actually getting ready to sell this because I really only use it for Twitch as a second kind of thing. I mean, I can pick up a second monitor for cheap. So I'm thinking I'll just get rid of this because that's the only thing I use it for. I spent the last couple hours just kind of wiping it. So now it's completely clear of pretty much everything.
Nice.
So I'm going to throw it up on Yield Craigslist and see what I can get for it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, even if it's only like, $75, $100, whatever. Yeah, that's $75, $100.
$75, $100.
Yeah, because it's old. I mean, it runs Windows Vista. That's how old it is.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
really
is.
old. If I had like a copy of Windows 7 or something like that, I'd put it on there because it could run it. It's got like 2.5 gigs of RAM in it, so it could definitely run it. But I just don't own a copy of Windows 7 or 8, so I can't put it on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. So anything else going on with you?
No, not really. Although
Okay.
I think it's time to let the cat out of the bag about the one big thing that I've been working on that's been taking me away. I talked to Ashley about it. That's why I wanted her to hear it from me, not from, sometimes the employees pop on here and check things out or whatever. I didn't want them, I didn't want her to hear about it from this.
So
But-
Malorum says, just I didn't want to interrupt you. Says,
No,
make
yeah.
sure I run something to scramble the free space
What?
on my laptop. I don't understand.
Oh, in case there's anything.
Oh no, I
there.
went through all that already. I did like a registry thing and cleared all that out and went through and made sure there's nothing else on there. So there's none of my None of my passwords or anything are on there. In fact, I got rid of all the browsers too. The only browser left is Internet Explorer on there, and I never used Internet Explorer for anything.
Well, one of the concerns is if you didn't actually deliberately do it, data can be recovered.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had
nothing, I mean, I haven't used this for anything in years, so there's no nuclear secrets on here or anything. There's no credit card information or anything like that. So it's all good. It's all good in the hood.
Yeah. No, because they can go through and actually get stuff from that. So yeah. But anyway, so the thing I've been working on is I'm looking at trying to get my own Play It Again, to own my own store, and there is a guy in the Strongsville location that is looking to sell his store. So that's what I've been working on, is looking over those numbers and putting together a proposal. So hopefully it will go well. It's still early days here. Like I said, I wanted Ashley to hear it from me, which is why I didn't want to talk about it on the stream before that. Right. Nothing's definite or anything, but, she and I were talking about it, and she's been just extremely good to me.
Well, that's good. So Ashley knows that you're going for your own store?
Yeah.
So as I check my hat here?
Yeah, and she was, super excited about it and, all that, and she's offered to help with it and everything, so.
Okay.
In terms of, helping me, because the owner of the other store runs another business as well, one that's expanding rapidly while his store kind of winds down a little bit just because he's not doing it as much.
Got it.
So he's very, very busy, and it's kind of hard to get info and documents out of him sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So she has the old ones from when she was looking at that location, so she's getting those for me. She was insanely cool about the whole thing. So, But like I said, I just didn't want it to get out, because occasionally the guys that work at our store come in, check out the channel, watch the videos, things like that. So I didn't want her to hear it from them and not me, and I didn't want to talk to her about it.
How is she going to hear about it? Because I doubt she listens to the show.
Oh, she doesn't. She doesn't. Okay. But a couple of the part-timers actually do.
Oh, okay.
They watch it, when you'll every once in a while see X Ruby join the chat. That's one of my guys.
Got it.
And then they check out the YouTube videos too. They like some YouTube videos.
When you have your own store, you could be running us on a loop. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Just put a TV right in the corner and boom.
Absolutely.
It's all RivalCast all the time, baby.
That's right.
So, but that would make a lot of sense, right? A video game.
Video game stuff in a secondhand sports store? Of course.
That makes sense.
Are you kidding? That goes together like, NFL players and crack. It's just,
absolutely.
It's a marriage made in heaven.
Malorium, I assumed that anyone who's been watching and listening a long time could figure out what I was doing. My point was, again, I wanted her to hear it from me because, like I said, she's been insanely cool, not only about this, but ever since I went up there, we are, I would argue, a very good team, as the results from turning that store around, I think, indicate.
Sure, yeah.
But, I don't want her to feel like I was trying to go behind her back about it. I just didn't want to talk to her about it until I actually had something in my hands to prove that this could possibly happen.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to talk to her a month ago when I still wasn't even sure. So, but no, hopefully it'll go well. That's what I've been working on, guys. That is what has been taking me away from doing this. Obviously it would be a huge thing.
Right. Now I'm just curious, because I know that you've mentioned before that your father is totally on board with this. He's like, yeah, go for it. I know that your mom, not that she's saying, I know that, not with this specifically, but I know that she said other times that
I need to get a real person job.
She did, that she didn't see this as like your future. Like, she saw this as like, well, you're kind of doing this now, and then you're going to go on to, your quote unquote real career, whatever that would happen to be. Is she kind of on board with this, or is she kind of ambivalent? Or?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, all right, again,
because obviously, if you buy the store, this is what you're going to do. You're not buying a store to
absolutely
run it for a year and a half, and then
no,
unless you're going to spin it off and you're going to move on to bigger and better things. You're going to be like a real estate magnate or something ridiculous.
What I could do is I could be like the bar rescue guy, but for Play It Again sports stores that are shitty. I could buy them, spend 2 years turning them around, and then sell them for higher profits, and then buy another shitty one and do that again.
Uh-huh.
No, I would do it.
It's like flipping houses, only you flip businesses.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. But no, I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
But it would be something I would do. But she mentioned it as being the manager. Because Play It Again, the way the business model works, it doesn't really work with like a salaried manager and an owner. It just, the money and the numbers don't really make that a viable option.
I didn't expect that you were making a salary.
No, I'm not.
I mean, a place like that, usually the manager makes the highest hourly wage, an hourly wage. Yeah.
Oh no, and my wage is very fair for my position, but it's more than most other managers make. But again, for a manager to be salaried, the system isn't really, the stores don't really work that way. Their numbers can't support it. Not if they're going to support the owner as well. There can really only be one real person job in a store.
Right. Now,
there are some exceptions where like there's a guy in Florida that owns like 20 stores.
Okay, well then you have to have like support staff for that. Yeah,
right, absolutely. Well, but instead of having to draw his whole salary from one store, he can, spread it out over all of them.
It takes like a 20th or whatever you want to call it, and then you have like you probably for 20 stores. I mean, you probably even have someone above the managers. That's kind of like
he has his
district manager or whatever.
He has regional guys and stuff.
Right, exactly. Now, if you were to own the store, would you be the owner and the manager, or would you hire a manager?
Oh no, I'd be my own guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd do it myself. Which long hours to start with while you turn the place around, and then once it's viable, you bring more people in.
Right.
Osmation says the Play It Again sports store where I live closed down. Where do you live, Oz? I remember their shitty advertisements on TV. Well, that's one of the downsides to being a franchise.
I actually have seen their advertisements on TV, even down here.
They're working on. I will say they're working on making them better. They're trying, to give them more of a modern feel.
Basic cable look, like like you go to the cable station and they use like the crappy, SD camera.
Well, the problem,
really bad voiceover where they're really too close to the microphone, like
Play It Again sports. You can buy lots of
that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the problem you run into... Oh, okay, Oz, you're in Iowa? All right, I'm not familiar with any of the people out there. Most of the people I know in the system are east of the Mississippi, with the exception of Chicago. So, Chicago east of the Mississippi? I think it's to the west.
Yeah, Chicago is east of the Mississippi.
All right, well then never mind. I really don't know anyone out west.
Your American school system at work, ladies and gentlemen.
Fucking no. But...
when you're kid.
Whatever. I know it connects to the Ohio, and the Ohio's over here. Whatever. The point is... it's not important. The point
Have you never driven from Cleveland to Chicago? Did you cross over the Mississippi when you did that? No? Well, then there's your answer.
That's a valid point. I hadn't thought about it. I don't know where the fuck it comes from. Whatever. I just know where it is. Sort of. Not the top part of it. The bottom part.
The top part of it?
Yeah, the top part. Whatever. Shut up. Leave me alone.
If you connect the Mississippi with the Missouri, which it does, and if you count that as like one long river, it's one of the longest rivers in the world. Not the longest. I think it's like the third longest. I think. Nice. Third or fourth. Might be fourth, because I think the Yangtze in China is really, really long. I mean, the Amazon Nile.
I gotta be honest. I don't care. As fascinating as Who Wants to Play River Trivia is, I mean, come on. I don't know. I don't even know where it is. I just basically admitted that I'm not positive where the goddamn Mississippi is.
Okay, it's not my fault that I paid attention in school.
Oz says the commercial for his had the guy who owned it in his entire family. That's the point. Most of them. Yeah. Well, we're all individually owned, and there's no real national marketing campaign overall. Some stores will try and make their own, and you're looking at like late night mattress commercial levels of production at that point. Because I mean, you got to remember, a Play It Again sports. The owner is not a guy that makes millions of dollars. I mean, he's
not a guy who doesn't he's not an actor.
Right. No, it's the guy
doing just up there like, hey, come within my store because I have the things for you. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
No, absolutely not. So I mean, the commercials are almost always produced that way. We've actually Ashley and I have gone to because Winmark, the parent corporation of the franchise, will call us with their helpful suggestions.
Okay.
And decision. All right. First of all, whoever changed the voiceovers for the following alerts, hilarious and thank you because that was fantastic. I'm pretty sure that was Darkest Dungeon. It just went a wise decision. And secondly, Osmation, thank you for the follow.
Stream. I'm hearing.
Yeah, you're hearing me.
We're on Skype, and I'm hearing us on Skype. But I keep the stream muted because if I have the stream up, then I believe the stream actually comes through the microphone. And then it starts reverberating. Oh, there it is. Yucky, now it popped up right there.
So thank you very much for the follow, Oz.
Yeah, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Check out our schedule. We do stuff every single day. So check us out right below all the time. Streaming all the time.
And Wayne June is phenomenal, the voice actor for Darkest Dungeon. But anyways.
He is phenomenal.
They want us to do more things like that. They want us to make YouTube videos and things like that. And they sent us, like, their own... No, like, for Play It Again Sports, yeah, of course we could.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I was going to do it, I wouldn't try to make it look good. I'd go the complete opposite direction. Like, I'd try to make it, like, deliberately cheesy, like, so cheesy that, like, you're kind of crossing your fingers that it goes viral, that kind of thing.
Well, they sent us their best of, and we laughed for a solid 20 minutes watching them, because they were pretty awful and not intentionally so.
Okay, got it.
It was a good time. So we haven't done that.
And they sent you those as examples of what to do?
Yeah, they were like, these guys have gotten great responses, and we're like, 50 views, dude, 50 views. Welcome to the internet. Like, and they called that great response. You know, and I'm like, one comment, 50 views, nobody cares. Didn't affect a single thing.
I tell you what, if you do get the store and you decide to do a YouTube video, let me have one crack at the piñata.
Absolutely.
YouTube. You can throw it away, like, this is crap, and you can throw it away, and you will not hurt my feelings. I just want one good whack at the piñata. That's
totally acceptable. All right, okay. Absolutely. But anyways, what's been going on with you? Because that's my big thing. I'm working on my own store, and I hope I get it.
My big thing is I joined a political party about a week ago.
You didn't already belong to one?
No, I did not belong to one before. No, I don't belong to the Democratic Party.
Is it because they're not leftist enough for you?
Technically, I did have to sign up for it in order to vote in the primary down here, because I'm gonna chuck that as soon as I'm able to. Of
course.
No, this is the one that I joined right here. I don't know if you can see right there. There it is, right there.
There you go.
Yeah. Socialist Alternative. Hopefully I got it up there right. They are the people. You're probably not familiar.
I'm a good freedom-loving American, not part of your fifth column, sir.
Of course, fair enough. They are the people that actually got someone elected to the Seattle city. Remember how Seattle now is $15 an hour?
Yeah.
They're the reason why it's $15 an hour.
All right.
In Seattle. They actually got someone elected to the city council. Her name is she's usually always on. There's like, yeah, there she is right there. That's her right there. Right there. She's a economics professor at some university up there in Seattle, and she got elected. They actually ran 3 different people, one in Seattle, one in Minneapolis, and one in Boston. They thought the Minneapolis person was going to win, but turns out the Seattle won. Minneapolis, they lost by like 20 votes. It was like really close. It was crazy.
Huh.
But anyway, and then that was her big thing, among other things too, like rent control, whatever, was pushing to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and she got it through some finagling and everything like that, but she got it through nonetheless.
I saw that.
So, yeah, it was kind of strange because, like I had said, hey, I'm kind of interested, and I went ahead and like signed up for like my dues and everything. Because if you're a member of any sort of organization like that, be it even if like something like the Republicans, whatever, you still got to pay dues to keep your membership up, and just you got to kind of kick in money so that all the apparatus still works. And then I had like an hour and a half. I guess it'd be like an interview, for lack of a better term. Guy said he was going to call me, and he did, and he just wanted my opinion on various different topics, which don't relate to gaming at all, and I'm not going to bore you with it all. But suffice to say that we were in simpatico enough that he said, yeah, so so I was like, so how do I actually officially join? What do I do? He's like, okay, we got to agree to this, and this, and I said, well, no problem, I already do. And he said, well, you got to be a dues paying member. And I said, well, I already am. And they looked and said, yes, you are. And so they welcome aboard. So that was pretty much it.
For the record, you don't have to pay dues to join the Republican Party.
You don't have to pay dues? Oh, okay.
Interesting. By law, I don't think you can, or they can make you. I'm not sure if that's an internal party rule or if that's a law.
Okay. It might be an internal party rule, because like I know plenty of other organizations that they ask you to pay dues. I mean, they even have things where it's like, if you don't make a lot of money, you can pay like a lower amount, and you don't even have to necessarily prove. Well, maybe you do. I don't know, but things that I've seen, you can pay like a lesser amount if you don't make a ton of money. But whatever. But anyway, I'm a dues paying member, so there you go.
There you go.
There's a bunch of branches all over the country, but none in Orlando. There is a branch of Socialist Alternative in Tampa, which is like about an hour and a half drive away. So I'm sort of like an island in and of myself. So normally, if I was living in Tampa or Boston or Seattle or New York or whatever, you'd go to the meetings and you'd talk about what you want to do and how you want to organize stuff and blah blah blah. But as I'm sort of like an island unto myself, I talk to there's different regional coordinators. So I have to talk to the regional coordinator, and then we all have to get together online via Google Hangout, which has not happened yet. The guy said he's been kind of lax on that, so maybe that's something that I will be kicking him about. Like, hey, let's get going, that kind of thing. And that's about it. That's about all the kind of thing right there. This is what this actually is their monthly newslettery kind of papery thing. That's what this is right here. In case you were wondering what that was, like, why does he have that right there? You get that when you join. That's one of the things you get for paying dues is you get this thing.
I am reading their about page, and these people are anathema to me. Complete and total.
Of course they are. Yes, of course
Complete
they are.
and total.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, you probably would like the front page here. It says "Stop Trump."
I'm pro that.
Right there. There you go.
I don't like the bottom part though.
The build a left political alternative.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah, kind of the idea is with these guys is they don't think that Bernie Sanders is going to be the nominee because the Democratic apparatus is completely not behind him at all and is actually working 24/7 to make sure he does not get the nomination.
Which I find hilarious.
But
I thought my party was the one. I thought my party was the one that hated democracy and wanted to destroy your votes. But your party, or well, the Democratic Party, I should say, is actively fucking just wrecking.
Yeah, it's so blatant, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, he has built at least a movement, for lack of a better term, that a lot of people are really behind what he's doing. So if he doesn't get the nomination, you would think that well then that's it. And well, what happens to all this upswelling and all these people and everything like that? So, these guys want him to either run as an independent, which he doesn't really want to do because it's really freaking difficult to be an independent and get on the ballot everywhere and win. Or
the deadline's passed in a few states,
which would be difficult. But they give you a whole list of what we stand for right there. I won't go through it because you guys are interested. You guys want to hear about gaming stuff, which is totally fine. Totally fine. But if you're ever interested, you can always hit me up, highlander1g@gmail.com. I'll tell you all about it. Or you can just go to the Wikipedia page. They list the socialist alternative. Make sure it's the U.S., not the Australian. There is an Australian political party called Socialist Alternative. Totally different organization. But they just list, blah, 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 what it is they all stand for and what they want and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's what's been going on with me.
Lovely.
Yes. All right, so let's go ahead and get to some articles. You can see a bunch of articles. We have so many articles that we're not actually going to be doing any creative-y stuff. So no haikus or necessarily any
games or
game playing or any of I haven't done any fan fiction in a while. And I got to be honest, that's because that's on me. I haven't really been searching like I should be doing. I've been looking for like a really good one. But I should really get on that. I should get on that. That's on me. That's on me. I'm going to see what I can do. Find a really good one. But anyway, on the program, we're going to be talking about console launches, new console launches, and new versions of console launches. We're going to talk about how that possibly will affect GameStop, especially as more and more things go to digital. We'll be talking Rainbow Six Siege. We're going to be talking about Mirror's Edge, the new Mirror's Edge. They're taking guns out of that game. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Red Dead Redemption 2 seems like it might be a thing. We're going to talk about that. But we begin tonight with Studio Wildcard. Studio Wildcard, probably maybe not recognize the name, but you will probably recognize their most popular title, which is Ark Survival Evolved, which is, of course, the dinosaur game where you get to shoot and kill dinosaurs. Because, who doesn't love to go back in time and kill dinosaurs? I mean, clearly that's the whole point of the internet and or gaming altogether. But anyway, they're in the news today because Studio Wildcard just settled a big lawsuit that someone was suing them over. One of their
Trendy Entertainment.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, with developer Trendy Entertainment. Apparently, some people that worked at Studio Wildcard was not being nice to people. They were saying some rather nasty things, and it wasn't really that great. So they decided to sue, And according to the article, they sued for $600 million. Apparently, it was kind of a joke. They weren't really expecting to get $600 million, but they did get $40 million. So
very importantly, though, real quick, the main subject of the lawsuit was a designer named Jeremy Stieglitz, and the big thing was they were claiming that he left their company, violated his non-compete, and was working in secret on Survival Evolved. He also allegedly, he repeatedly attempted to poach trendy employees to make them come work on Ark.
Right.
So that's the big part of the lawsuit. Sorry, go ahead.
That's the big part of the lawsuit. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to get that deep into it or not. Yeah. But anyway, they settled for $40 million, and that's a pretty big chunk of money.
Yeah.
For any company, especially for a company like this, which obviously has that kind of money. But of course, the question then arises, how is that going to affect their not only their bottom line, but are they going to be able to, pay the people that they're working at right now to build the next game and to get everything going for that kind of game? Is the whole thing going to go down? And no one really knows for sure because, 40 million, like I said, a lot of money. So I guess, Varya, the question is, do you think that this could sink the company?
I don't think so.
Having to pay out $40 million?
I don't think so. I think before Ark, absolutely, they're done. But with Ark turning into the hit that it's become, with the following that they've gotten, with the attention that they've gotten, I think they'll be okay. And I think that's why they settled. Because Trendy was never going to get $600 million. That's a laughable figure to try and go for, which kind of, to an extent, indicates to me a little bit that they thought the lawsuit was a roll of the dice. Go for a big figure, get some attention, maybe get a smaller number, go for the settlement.
That's kind of what I thought, because I didn't see anything that warranted, why are you, how are you coming up with that number? And I didn't see anything to justify that number. So.
Well, obviously they were leaning on the punitive side because there's no way that the value of the damages was even approaching that number. So you look at it, and I think Studio Wildcard settled because A, they could afford it right now, and B, because they were afraid of if basically Trendy wanted an injunction. And an injunction could force Studio Wildcard to stop working on Survival Evolved until the case was over, and even potentially remove the game from PC and Xbox One, which is where it's been selling. So it's cheaper for them, pay up the $40 million, get this to go away, and keep the game up, keep the game improving, and keep building their customer base. So,
by the way, Varya, I appreciate the fact that you put the timer up. I really love that you did that.
Damn it!
I know.
All right. Well,
I feel kind of bad because look, I'm on between the two of this here. Varya pretty much does everything, and I feel really bad about that. That's partially why on the few occasions when I do the show myself or when I did it with D, all that other stuff wasn't there because A, I didn't have access to it at first, but now I do. But B, I don't do it all the time. So for Varya, he's got it down to a pretty sweet science. But the fact is that he is doing all of that as well, and he's got to hold up his end of the argument too. So I do feel a small twinge of I got to call him out on his bullshit.
No, call
but
me out.
Just a little bit because I do love calling you out on your bullshit.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you
did forget the timer. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got it up now, so we're now we're good for the next one.
It's also still on intro as well. If I may be so bold.
You're bold. All right.
I know. Yes, I am bold. Yes, thank you for
How dare
agreeing
you?
with me.
How
Thank
dare
you for
you?
agreeing with me. Once again, the natural order prevails, and we can move on.
But anyways, the point is, I think Trendy hit the jackpot. I think that's what they were looking for. I think obviously hitting 40 million. I'm pretty sure they signed those papers as fast as they could find a fucking pen. Because they absolutely got their money's worth.
That probably funds them for the next 2-3 years, easy.
I mean, they're not, again, they're much like Studio Wildcard. They're not a huge company. I mean, they're just, their main claim to fame is Dungeon Defenders. That's what they've made. So, I mean, it's an indie company that just got a $40 million payday. So, booyah. So they're thrilled with it. It's a, lawfare that paid off. And now both companies can move on. Hopefully we won't see anything more than this. But more importantly, I do think it brings up the question of, and I'm just glad I turned the timer off because I'm blatantly going to ignore it now as I ask you a question in turn, Highlander.
Okay.
NDAs in software development, especially game development, with the amount of mobility between different companies, NDAs are an interesting device to put into a contract at that point. I absolutely understand why customers do it, but if you look into the comments on the stories that are talking about this on the various articles, a lot of people are putting a lot of backlash out there. I guess there's not a question there, but just a point to raise to be considered. You know, in the fluid workspace that is game development, NDAs are incredibly punishing to the designers. It almost seems like that's something that they might want to start pushing back against. As I know you are a champion of the worker.
Of course I am.
Yes. Whereas I personally belong in a boardroom.
You do.
At least by spirit and temperament.
That's right.
What's funny is I would kill myself.
Corporate America is only looking out for your best interest, folks.
Absolutely.
Profit is just a byproduct they've learned to live with.
Profit fuels success.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. But
Although
anyways,
in a way it does. Yeah,
Of
obviously.
course it does. That's a self-evident statement. The difference is, you know, whether you look at it as a necessary evil or not.
Yes,
of course, look at it as the cold light of heaven raining down on us, but that's just different.
The cold light of heaven raining down.
It may be impersonal, sir, but it does good works.
But
let's talk Red Dead.
It's amoral. But anyway, yeah, okay.
So
We're moving on.
moving on.
We're moving on.
Oh.
But yeah, I agree. Just real quick, yeah.
Yeah.
I think NDAs are very stifling. Yeah, I mean, I understand why companies do it. It doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it, but that's a whole other topic for another other day, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's put 5 minutes on the clock and talk Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Rockstar has long been rumored to be working on Red Dead Redemption 2. I personally would welcome such a thing. I would be so happy to see a sequel. I absolutely love the first, and I'm curious, Highlander, before I wade hip deep into this, did you enjoyed the first Red Dead Redemption?
Absolutely, yeah. Grand Theft Auto Horse? Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
That was a great game. What I really liked about it, besides the fact that it was it had that sort of Grand Theft Auto feel, and that it was like an open sandbox kind of thing where you can just kind of go around and, you had the main quest, but you could go off and do other things.
Yeah.
Was the time period, because with most Westerns, it's usually like, the 1870s, 1880s. Red Dead Redemption takes place, I believe, in like 1910 or something like that. It's like right at the very end
Right.
of what you think of as, what you would think in your mind when you think of like the Old West, or the Wild West. There's, like cars are starting to come in, and there's, telegraph and telephone poles all over the place. So it's kind of like, as the sun sets on one age, the other sun rises on another, and you've got this guy who's sort of like in the middle, who's, been in that Old West for a long time, but now he's sort of becoming an anachronism because this new age is finally coming from the East into the West. So that I really liked. That was a wonderful touch that I thought.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed the game myself. And with the popularity of it, they had always said that it was going to be a permanent IP, but there's still been no announcement on it. All we've heard are leaks. And the latest leak is supposedly, and I use that word advisedly, but supposedly, there was a post on NeoGAF that was a screenshot of the new game map for Red Dead Redemption 2. Tech Radar is claiming that a source close to the development of the new Red Dead has confirmed that the map is indeed the real deal. And according to the site, the image is a very recent art direction map. If you look at it, it features the Great Plains, which is where Blackwater from the first game was located. This time there is what appears to be either a lake or a river. It appears to me to be a river. It's got some islands in it, so it looks like we might be able to swim out. There's no railroads on it, but the legend does have a key for railroads, so we assume that they'll be going in. Again, it is an art direction map, so it is early stages. One of the other interesting things that people have noted is that New Bordeaux, and if you played Mafia 3, you'll be familiar with that name. New Bordeaux is in the bottom right corner of the map. And Mafia 3, of course, was created and distributed by Take-Two Interactive, which is Rockstar's parent company. So, So far, there has been no comment on this map, but those of you who are looking for Red Dead, I gotta be honest, this, more than any other rumor so far, is confirmation that it's coming. Which is, in my Highlander and my humble view, is fantastic fucking news.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So-
really excited. They're talking about it might be a prequel, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Because, well, I'm just going to spoil it. If you've never played Red Dead Redemption, the game is almost 10 years old, so, spoiler, he dies in the end. So, I mean, if you're going to do a new Red Dead, it would either have to be a prequel or like a
new
side
character.
thing that happened while you're playing Red Dead Redemption. It would make more sense to do a prequel because if you're going to keep it in the Old West, like I just said before, Red Dead Redemption takes place at the very end of the Old West, so you're going to have to move it back farther too. Maybe when he was part of the gang and he was kind of like a bad guy, that kind of thing. Maybe that's the story, or maybe you're someone who's trying to catch the original protagonist from Red Dead Redemption. That might be a possibility as well. I think that could possibly work.
That actually could be very cool.
Yeah.
I'd enjoy either of those storylines.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But with that being said, there is related news while we're on the subject, because I think we're both about done with Red Dead. Preliminary work on Grand Theft Auto 6 has started. Apparently, before they started making the game, they considered putting it in Tokyo, but apparently that's been nixed, according to, again, leaks and rumors, so we'll find out when we know more.
It'd be interesting that they would put it in Tokyo, because every city that Grand Theft Auto has been it's been based off of a city.
Yeah.
But it's been its own universe. Like, it's never been, Liberty City is kind of like New York City, but not really.
Right.
And then you've got Vice City, which is kind of like Miami, but it's not really. And then you got San Andreas, which is kind of like Los Angeles, but it's not. So, I mean, having it in Tokyo, that would be radically different, if they're going to have it in an actual real city. I don't think they would, though. If they were going to do it in a Japanese city, it would probably just be some sort of random Japanese city that would be like Tokyo. But I'm guessing they probably didn't, just because for their I think it would just be too radically changed from, their basic plan of what they usually do, because everyone would not be speaking English,
right,
other than I suppose a few people that you'd be running into that, would obviously speak English, or, that kind of thing, or maybe you speak Japanese and they do some sort of like Sean Connery Hunt for Red October thing where they kind of zoom in and they just kind of flip the whole thing and then pretend that everybody speaks English even though they're speaking Russian. I don't know, that kind of thing. I think it would just make sense just to keep it in America, just do it at another American city somewhere.
Well, we will see when the new one gets announced and we learn more. But with that being said, let's hit Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, let's hit Mirror's Edge. I've played Mirror's Edge before. I was never a huge fan. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't my kind of thing. But anyway, they're coming out with a new Mirror's Edge game, and a lot of people are really excited for that. Mirror's Edge Catalyst. And one of the things that just got announced, the developer, DICE, they announced that guns are not going to be a part of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I don't have a huge problem with this. Like I said, I didn't play it all the way through, but I do know enough about Mirror's Edge to know that you didn't have guns for the entire game. There were only a few parts where you absolutely really needed to have guns to shoot at people. One of the things that they bring up in this is that you don't necessarily need guns in this sequel, because you're going to get to a point where you become invulnerable to bullets. And that seems to be a fair enough excuse on my end. Say, okay, well, if you're going to be invulnerable to bullets, then you're not necessarily going to have to use a gun. They're talking about when you're working up your tech tree, so to speak, you're going to get to the point where it's almost kind of like a Batman Arkham kind of thing, where you're going to get so many awesome, elite karate kind of skills that you're going to be able to disarm and get people before they even have a chance to shoot you. Like I said, I don't really have a huge problem with the game not having guns. Varyar, I know you're someone who really likes games with guns. I don't know if you ever played Mirror's Edge.
I did.
I'd be kind of surprised if you did, because this doesn't seem to be like your kind of game either.
I did.
Is this something that like you're kind of upset about? Like, why are there no guns? What's the deal?
Actually, I kind of like it, and I'll tell you why. And it's the reason that I really want to do this article, because I look at it as innovation. I think a lot of games have kind of looked at Call of Duty and said, nailed it, let's copy that shit. Mm-hmm. And I have gotten, there are attempts to push the envelope, but as long as you're using firearms, a lot of companies are thinking, well, guns are guns, which, they are, but they aren't. And they're not really going beyond that. So I love the fact that they're trying something new. When you look at Mirror's Edge, the original, the setting is just gorgeous. I mean, just the city is fantastic looking. It really does a good job with that atmosphere of the dystopian future they're trying to look at. The movement, the free running system is overall very well done. But when about halfway through the game they put a gun in your hand, it feels like it was tacked on. That's not what made the game successful. So take it out. They're trying something totally new. I also like that they're putting in RPG elements, and I actually really like their explanation why. You have to use XP to unlock new moves, and they did some play testing, and like for example, one of with their new moves, some people were kind of like, well, why would you lock them away? And not lock them away as in you have to pay for them, but you level up naturally like any other RPG style game. And they actually did playtesting, and they realized that when players were given all the abilities from the start, they didn't use a lot of them. They didn't use the more advanced ones. They just stuck to what was simple. But when they had to unlock the abilities, they started thinking about them, and they started using them a lot more, leading to much better play. So it's one of those things where they're kind of taking advantage of that reward system in our brain to make sure that you use the most powerful abilities and, for lack of a better word, play the game right. But overall, I'm absolutely fine with them taking guns out. Obviously, it's their game. They can do what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that, for a free runner, it makes more sense to me. They're going more to momentum-based combat. If you've got some momentum behind you, you're running fast, you're moving quickly, you can pounce on enemies, use them to land and cushion your fall. You can kick them as you're going over something, things like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And again, at base, I love that it's innovative. I love that it's something new. You take a game that got really mixed reviews. Some people loved it, some people hated it.
Yeah, like I said, I understand where they were going with it, and I was like, this really just isn't my thing. Like, it was innovative in fact that it was a first person, but it wasn't like a first person shooter, even though it did have a couple of those elements in there. That wasn't really at its core what it was about. So I appreciate what they were doing, but it wasn't really the game for me. So I'm
not going to lie. It's not like Mirror's Edge is one of my top 10 games or anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed what it was, but I didn't love it and replay it and all that stuff. It wasn't like one of those games for me. But I like that they're trying something new. I like that they're taking the risk, and hopefully it works out for them. It sounds like they're taking all the things people loved about the first game and reinforcing them and getting rid of all the bitches. And maybe adding a little new stuff on top of there. So hopefully it works out. I love to see, companies take some risks like this. I kind of like the joke, GameSpot asked the DICE senior producer Jeremy Miller if the decision to strip out firearms is a massive commercial gamble, and his literal answer is, "What do you mean? The first-person melee genre is huge." And of course, he's kidding. So I like it. I like the behavior, and I hope it works out.
Because everyone has guns. That's kind of the whole point of that. Yeah.
But with that being said,
before you go, just one last little point that I wanted to make that you had brought up when you were talking about that. The developers noticed that when you give all the abilities up front, that players only tend to use a few of them. From my perspective, I think of it more as if you give someone too many choices, they become overwhelmed and they just kind of stick to their own little narrow thing. Whereas
they use what they know.
You slowly build them up and then it pops up, you give them an opportunity to use it.
I agree.
And then they go ahead and use it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah. So I think it's a smart decision on their part. But so let's start talking here. Real quick, this isn't an in-depth thing or anything. I'm not even going to start the timer for it, but it's just a little bit of news that some of you may be interested in. I obviously have been having a ton of fun with Rainbow Six Siege. I got it when it came out. Very much enjoying it. I like that, we were just talking about, the plethora of shooters on the market, but this is one that has a twist, and I like that. I like that it's not all COD run and gun. It is in its free weekend right now, guys, so if you want to try it out for free, no charge, you can hop onto Steam. If you're an Xbox Oneer, you can get it there. But it's their free weekend, or Uplay. Sorry, Steam or Uplay. So you can try it out, download it, play it all the way through tomorrow. If you like it, and I think most of you will, if you're into tactical shooters. Again, it's not Call of Duty run and gun. You gotta be smart. But you can pick it up for a discount this weekend. Right now, it's a third off the standard game, 40% off the gold edition, which includes the season pass. I promise it's not just a shameless plug for Ubisoft. We're not taking any money for this. Although Ubisoft call me, I'm not averse to being on the take. But, it's a game that I've enjoyed. It's a game I've had a lot of fun with. It does have its issues still. The matchmaking can take forever sometimes, but the game itself is a lot of fun. And if some of you guys want to grab it and maybe play with me, you should let me know.
I gotta look for something in my. Well, give me 1 second here. Right, I'm all out of fucks.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, like look, shooter genre. It's not yours.
It's never been.
It's not my. I mean, I got to be honest. The only time I was ever into the shooter genre was probably like in the '90s, in like the late '90s when I was playing Quake, and like Quake 2, and that was it.
I get
Not
that.
really. I think I owned a Battlefield game at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't
never
have
has.
that love affair with guns, and like, holy crap, there's like 50,000 different versions of all these guns, and you can look at them all, and you can rotate them, and it's not my thing. Not into it. So I mean,
Very well.
Obviously, there are probably people that are, because they're offering it for free on Steam and Uplay. So obviously, Varyar loves it. So there are people who come to our channel who agree with what Varyar has to say. I feel sorry for those people. But if you do happen to enjoy that kind of game, then by all means, go ahead. It's free. It's not going to cost anything.
Nope. Just a download. Let it run overnight. Play it tomorrow. If you want someone to play with, I'm literally Varyar1G on everything. So
there you go.
Type my name in.
Right. Because you don't want you playing with yourself.
That'd be
then your face is going to stay that way.
Yeah. That'd be
just saying.
Weird.
Just saying.
All right.
Look, it just came up. Okay. Like you throw the softball up, I've got to hit it like that.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we're going to move on to sort of everything's kind of these last three articles all sort of tie into each other, so this might be kind of one big kind of flow kind of conversation-wise, which I give Varyar credit for because he's the one who found all the articles this time. Sometimes it's a back and forth thing where I find some, he finds some. There are some times when I find all the articles, but this week he found all the articles, so congratulations to you, sir.
And I designed them with flow in mind, sir.
You do, yes, definitely, yes. If anyone knows about flow, it's going to be you. So we're going to start
I think I was just
with GameStop. With GameStop. GameStop, it shouldn't be too obvious. Obviously, people buying games digitally, whether it's Steam or Uplay or Origin, that kind of thing. Anything like that at all. That's obviously a major problem with GameStop's business model. The fact that, the idea is that you walk into a store and you pick up a physical copy of a game. And obviously, as things start going more and more digital, GameStop's looking at itself in the mirror and deciding, well, what are we going to do? GameStop is saying that there are significant barriers that prevent reselling digital console games, which is very true. It's a little difficult. Not impossible, but it's a little more difficult to try and sell your digital game to another company so that they can sell it to someone else. And then, of course, where's the big quote right there? Significant barriers. The big quote when they're talking about, so GameStop, what are you going to do about that? We've had discussions with the platform holders and publishers. It is much more difficult than on the physical side of the business. There are some significant barriers to that happening that would have to be removed. We don't see it on a lot of roadmaps in terms of development right now. Although they did say that if a feature was to be made available, GameStop would be involved. Well, of course it would, because that's pretty much the future. And they don't want to end up being an anachronism where like you go and you end up, it's almost like a secondhand store for everything, where you go and you get old NES games or old records and all that kind of crazy stuff, which is kind of like what they're starting to get into. Although they did recently purchase ThinkGeek, and that might help them out in the long term. In terms of getting people come in and buy geeky nerdy stuff.
That's what they're going to.
That's what they're going to have to, in my opinion, if they're going to be able to make it in the long haul.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as selling digital games, I mean, it's certainly possible. It's not out of the question. The only problem is that people don't think of GameStop when they're trying to sell their digital games. They do it on Steam or they do it on whatever other platforms already exist.
G2A.
So, Varyar, as a GameStop employee, if you can speak for the company, because you're the one that's right here in front of me talking.
I like to think that I can speak for the company, Highlander. I like to think that I have an inside, bottom-up view of everything.
That's right. It's an inside bottom-up view.
Yes.
Right.
The
From
most valuable of
up,
views. Yes.
Using your insider knowledge, your political clout with GameStop. Like I said, I think this is, I hate to say the beginning of the end, because it's not like, Xbox and Sony are going to go completely digital next year or anything like that. But, I mean, what's GameStop's future plan? I mean, is it going to turn into sort of like a ThinkGeek thing where they're going to be selling, plush TARDISes and T-shirts and things like that? Or are they going to figure out a way to buy and sell digital games?
I honestly think that they are going to switch from just a game store to a game culture. I think we've already seen that going on. Every store is adding stuff. And more, they're telling us sell the Minecraft sword, push the the Lego Dimension stuff, the collectibles, the pops, have the mystery boxes, all this stuff. But they're also still selling hardware. They're dabbling in publisher, but don't you dare call them a publisher.
Of course.
With Song of the Deep right now, they're actually that might be privileged. I might not be allowed to. I don't care. But, right now they're basically giving us $1 every time we get
someone pre-orders.
We get a pre-order or something. You get $1.
Wow. Okay.
They're really trying to push that. They're running ads for it nonstop. And I'll tell you right now, it doesn't look like a bad game. It looks interesting.
Okay.
I'm not bad-mouthing Song of the Deep at all, but I'm emphasizing that they are trying to promote the crap out of this thing. So in my mind, that makes it look like they're not entirely sure. They're trying to diversify. They're kind of seeing where things go. I think they'd absolutely love to see digital reselling become a thing. If they did, right now, a lot of PC gamers go to buy Steam. GameStop's pretty much out of the PC market. They sell Steam cards. They have one drawer of PC games for the occasional person that comes in. But overall, they're not in it. But, if all of a sudden you could resell all your games digitally, I think that opens the door for them to possibly move in and become a dominant. Although I don't, you don't know for sure. They'd have a ton of competition. You have to assume that, obviously sites like G2A already exist for PC owners to resell keys. Oh, there's the time, but I'm still going to finish my thought.
Okay.
But there's not right now kind of a one-stop shop the way right now for a lot of PC gamers Steam is for new games.
Not really.
So,
And the fact that if you're going to buy and sell digital games really negates the fact of having a brick and mortar store, or at least as many as there are right now. Although at the end of this article, GameStop does bring up the fact that the arrival of new consoles could be imminent, and of course you have to usually go into a place to get your console, which brings us to our next article. Go right ahead, sir.
All right. Apparently, as GameStop has forewarned, there's no official announcement here. They, do talk about imminent new consoles, obviously one of which they're talking about is the NX. Obviously, they're referring to the VR systems. But there is strong evidence for a more powerful PlayStation 4, and we've also seen hints from Phil Spencer that Xbox is going to be doing the same thing. Excuse me. Right now, Sony is working on a new version of the PS4 that will, quote, handle higher-end gaming experiences. This includes virtual reality. The Wall Street Journal, Kotaku, Eurogamer are all reporting on this. The new system will reportedly, again, allegedly, these are all rumors until anything's confirmed by Sony, but they seem to be well-found ones. It will have enhanced graphics and power. Now, very important, so far, everyone is saying that these things are going to be both backwards and forwards compatible, that there's going to be no problem. Games that come out for one will be playable on the other, so it's not really a true generation shift. However, it is a chance, if Sony is first out the gate, for them to, once again, separate themselves from Microsoft. If Microsoft wants to stay in this thing, they really got to be the first ones out the door on this. Because right now they are losing this console war, although they're still doing, they're still selling units faster than they did the 360, which I think is more
They did lose April, though. I did see an article saying that Sony outsold Microsoft, at least in terms, well, sorry, for March, not for April. We're still in April, but for March.
Yeah.
Sorry, never mind. I'm rambling. I'm just rambling.
No, you're
now.
fine. I'm sorry. I'm just catching up with chat. Baron thinks that GameStop's going to turn into the exchange. Sort of anything goes, toys and games.
That's kind of
shop.
what I was thinking. I mean, maybe, but if that is the case where they sell used everything, then you're not going to need however. I mean, how many GameStops are there? Like 1,000, 2,000?
Tons of them. Yeah.
Tons of them. You're not going to need. I mean, there's some places where there's 2 or 3 in every small little town, and you're not going to need that at all.
No, not at all.
But anyway,
I think that just reinforces why they're kind of touching on everything. Although, again, with imminent new systems, they're very excited about the hardware sales because that really drives a lot of their profit, their growth, I should say, because you don't make really dick on new hardware. Not that much, anyway. The margins suck.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so they already, Sony basically came out and said that, look, PlayStation VR, powered by the PS4, may be technically inferior to the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, which is no surprise. The Vive and the Rift both run on high-end gaming PCs. An improved PS4 is kind of their way of looking at this thing and saying, we need more power. We don't want to piss off everyone by dropping a whole new console 3 years after the first one. So what if we went this PS4K route, which is kind of what people are calling it right now. So they'll continue offering the standard unit, and then they'll have the higher end unit for more for the guys that want the high end visual experience. Better graphics, more power, bigger hard drive, all the things you need to run those VR experiences, and just better normal games as well. But right now, obviously, PS4 already has a graphical lead over the Xbox One, for lack of a better word, 1080 versus 900. So this would just let them to, again, distance themselves even farther from their competition. I don't know, Highlander, do you think that gamers will go for this? I absolutely think they do. But there are people in the comments that are complaining, I just bought my PS4, you dicks.
First, my first inclination was no, because it had never been done before. But the more I think about it, in terms of like a lot of different, in many other forms of electronics, we have things like that. Cell phones being the most obvious choice.
Yeah.
Apple does it every year. Right now you can get the 6, or you can get the 6S, which is a little more powerful. Battery's a little bigger, screen's a little bit nice, that kind of thing. Screen's a little nicer, you get a little extra features. And but you can still run everything on the 6 or the 6S. So I think that if something like this were happening maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, no, I think it would kind of flop, because people would be like, why am I going to have to buy another one? I already have one right here. But I think that people are now inclined, because they want the best of the best, even if they already have a PS4. A lot of them are probably going to want the really powerful PS4, so
right.
They'll probably try and they'll sell it off. They'll sell off their old PS4 and get the new shiny, like the new Hotness instead of the old beat up one.
Well, and I'm sure GameStop will offer trade incentives to try and get them to do just that.
Of course. And then, of course, you're going to get, that whole other influx. You've got that whole now, you're bringing out, you're not really bringing out a new console, but it's almost like a whole nother cycle where you can bring out a whole new marketing campaign. Like, this now has 4K and it now has all this other kind of stuff. So it's almost like getting a new console. So assuming they're going to do it during the Christmas season, which seems like if they're going to be, bringing it out, because we're already in April, they're not going to bring it out in a month or two from now. So that seems to be a smart thing to do, because everyone's going to be in the buying mode anyway. So if they're going to buy something, they're going to buy the brand new one, or they'll upgrade themselves to the brand new one. And from another marketing perspective, it does kind of take the wind out of the sails of their quote-unquote competitor, which would be Nintendo, because they're planning on bringing out the NX, allegedly, also at Christmas time as well. So Nintendo's bringing out their new system. Now Sony can say, hey, we're bringing out an updated version of our system, which is not only even our old system's more powerful than this system, our new system is even more powerful, and it can do VR, and it's 4K, and blah, 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 blah. So it's from a total perspective, it seems to make sense on Sony's part to try and do that, maybe to try and put the nail in the coffin of Nintendo. We'll see what happens. That's how I look at it. That's how I
absolutely agree. All right, well, with that being said, the buzzer has gone off, so let's wrap it on up.
Yeah, pretty much, because the last article we had was about the PS4, and we kind of did both articles together there.
Yeah,
so.
I just kind of kept rolling and started talking about the PS4.
Just kind of all rolled into one thing.
Yep.
I'll be curious to see what they're going to do over at Microsoft. If they're going to... It seems like that Microsoft is interested in the idea, but they kind of want to wait and see if Sony falls on its face first before they go ahead and do it, which is it's a mixed bag, because Sony could end up jumping on that, and then if Microsoft jumps in afterward, then they look like Johnny-come-latelys, and they just look like followers instead of leaders. And right now, Microsoft is not really in that great of a position to be following instead of leading, considering they're following on everything that Sony's doing. So that's the take that I have on that. Plus, I guess if they're going to do an upgrade, if you're going to make an upgraded Xbox One, and the PS4 upgrade is going to be 4K, you're kind of going to have to upgrade it from 900. 900 to 1080 is not going to do much of anything for you. So you're going to have to upgrade to 4K, and that's going to be a pretty big upgrade from what they have right now. So it'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely.
To see. I'm very curious. So yeah, that about wraps up the show. Usually, for those of you that are new to the stream, usually at this time we usually do some sort of creative thing. Either I read some horrible fan fiction, or maybe some creepypasta. Or I usually do haiku reviews of games that are coming out this week. And by haiku reviews, I mean I write a review of the video game that just came out in haiku format, so 575. It can be kind of interesting sometimes when you're trying to boil down the essence of a game in only 17 syllables. Or I make Varyar play a game of my choosing, which usually ends up being a really scary horror indie game because Varyar hates horror, scary indie games.
I do.
And then, of course, that's the whole reason why I make him play them in the first place, which is highly entertaining. At least for me. I mean, maybe it might not be entertaining for you, but, I kind of enjoy it, and it's my show, so whatever.
I cry myself to sleep every night.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I still love that one game still stayed with you, even up till now. The one with the hands coming out in front of you like that.
Yeah.
Passing Pineview Forest.
That one's creepy as fuck.
I still love, and it was only like a 2-second thing, because the whole thing is just you walk through the forest, and then I love how that freaked you out.
It did.
So that's going to about do it. That's going to about do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching. If not for you guys listening and watching to us, we'd be doing this by ourselves, and that'd be kind of creepy. Please tune in to all the other wonderful shows that are on the RivalCast Media Network. As I said before, early in the broadcast, we stream stuff every single day of the week. If you're watching live, you can go ahead and scroll right down below where we're streaming. You can see our schedule for the whole week of what we're doing every single day. You can also go to rivalcastmedia.com and click the calendar button. That'll tell you everything we're doing for the whole month, so you can plan your life accordingly. Make sure to follow us on the usual social media haunts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all in the name RivalCast Media, where this show and every other show we do will all be put up there for your perusal and enjoyment every time you like to watch it, if you like to watch our faces, as opposed to just listening to the podcast version of the show, which you can get at many other places, including our own website at rivalcastmedia.com. Any particular station announcements we need to make?
Nope. Although right after the show, give me about 20 minutes to use the restroom, get some food. We're going to be playing some games.
All right. And so that's going to about do it. So on behalf of everyone else at RivalCast Media, stay classy, internets.
All right.
And remember, make yourself indispensable at work. Hide everything.
That's actually really good advice. I like that. Have a good night, guys.
See ya.